perseverance. So impressive. Your desire to get me here is about as long as my career. So that's awesome. Well, thanks for coming, everybody. I'm delighted to see people in the house. And yeah. So I was trying to decide if we're ready for a sing-along right out of the gate. I don't know this crowd. I don't know if these are sing-along people. I know that there's alcohol, and that always makes me funnier and makes you louder. So it's true. Oh, it's true. You just wait. Okay, so you sound like you might be game for a little sing-along. The good news is it's not like a real note that you have to sing. There aren't any lyrics that you have to memorize. All you have to do is howl like a coyote. It's the perfect way to, like, you know, if you had a bad day, not today. Today was perfect, right? But, you know, the news has got you down, or something's going on in the family, or you just broke up with somebody. Let me tell you, you are in the right place. And the good news is we have this place to ourselves for the next couple of hours. We can do whatever we want in here. So howl like coyotes? Why not? So here's where it comes in. It's actually the word wine. Wine. And it's as in W-H-I-N-E. And the chorus is like, fly away, little wildwood flower. Lift your cares to the wind, coyote. And then you're going to go, why? Let's try it. Fly away, little wildwood flower. Lift your cares to the wind, coyote, and why? It's gonna be good. So Clark mentioned Dave Carter. Dave Carter, great songwriter, who I had the pleasure of working with from about 1996 until his death in 2002. A lot of my career has been constellated around carrying his songs forward because he died very young. He was only 49 years old. I was 34 at the time, and I was ripe for carrying someone's legacy. And so that's what I've been doing for a lot of my career. Later on, I would go on to start writing songs, but this is an old Dave Carter song. Dave had many things that he wrote about. He could be very literary, he could be very mythological, and then he had this little subset of songs that was all about critters. And so this was about two young lovers who were running away from her mean old daddy. And every time daddy is about to catch up with them, they change into something that can't be caught. And it's called Love the Magician. Well, she come down from Oklahoma with her brown-eyed pride and joy. She come down from Oklahoma with her brown-eyed pride and joy. Yeah, the fair-haired Desdemona and a rambling guitar boy. Well, they kept to the thornbrick thickets, and 'cause her daddy was a log chain man. Yeah, they kept to the thornbrick thickets, oh, because her daddy was a log chain man. On a night as long and wicked as a scar on his tattooed hand. Now listen up. Fly away, little wildwood flower. Lift your cares to the wind, coyote, and whine. Yeah, you're rolling tears, your restless visions rattle up to love the magician. Well, he tracked him by the muddy water, and he trailed him by the lonely lake. him by the muddy water. Ooh, and he trailed him by the lonely lake. But he only saw two black otters swimming over by the farther bank. Here we go. Fly away, little wildwood flower. Lift your cares to the wind, coyote and white. Yeah, you're rolling in tears, your restless visions rattle up to love the magician. Well, they stole through the head-high blossoms when he let them hound doggies run. Yeah, they stole through the head-high blossoms, oh, and they let them hound doggies run. And the dogs treed to white possum at the rising of an angry sun. Last chance, fly away, little wildwood flower. Lift your cares to the wind, coyote and white. Yeah, you're rolling tears, your restless visions rattle up to love the magician. When the old man come to find him, there wasn't nothing for to meet the eye. When the old man come to find them, well, there wasn't nothing for to meet the eye. Just a pair of lovebirds rising in the blue and boundless sky. Well done, friends. Well done. Yeah, so I'll play you another one of these critter songs. Dave Carter came over to my house with a sheet full of lyrics, a sheet black with lyrics, I like to say. He was sort of renowned for writing a lot of words into songs. And I'm not sure why he gave me this one to sing, but I think it was because he knew that back in the day, and back in the day, by that I mean third and fourth grade, I myself had starred in some Gilbert and Sullivan operettas at the elementary school. I had played the Duke of Plaza Toro and the Modern Major General. And these are both two very sassy characters who sing songs with lots and lots of words in them. And so he thought, oh, Tracy can handle this. And so he gives me this song to sing. And this is really early on. And it's this like swampy, song about just these like, I don't know, nefarious characters. And I give it my best Gilbert and Sullivan. And before I'm even into the second verse, he just stops me. He's like, no, wait, no. Because it's way too square. I'm like giving it perfect diction, and I'm saying all the words. Mama, she raised me on riddles and trances, fat back channel cat, lily white lies. And he's like, you're too excited. Calm down. Make it swampy. And I'm like, swampy? I'm like, who are you talking to? I'm like, straight A cheerleader, like nerdy girl right here. Like, I don't do swamp, And he's like, well, we're going to have to work on this. And so we worked on it. I'm not going to say I ever really perfected the swamp nature of this song, but I'll tell you who has. I don't know if you guys know Chris Smither. But Chris Smither sings this song, and what he says on stage is, I don't know how Dave Carter got to this one before I did, because it really belongs to Chris Smither now. But But there is one person, I suspect, who did it squarer than me. I don't know if you remember Maureen McCormick. Oh, yeah. Marsha Brady? Yes. Marsha. Yeah, so it was 2004, a couple years after Dave died. Someone comes running up to me at a Folk Alliance conference, like even Folkies have conferences. And they're like, oh my God, Marsha's singing your song. Marsha's singing your song. And I'm like, whoa, 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 wait a minute. First of all, what's my song? Because like we don't have real hits like in folk music, and I didn't write any of them. Dave wrote all of our songs. So I'm like, what's my song? And Marsha who? I'm like scrolling through my folk Rolodex, and there are no Marshas that I could think of off the top. And she goes, Marsha Brady, the song about the alligators. And I was like, oh, what? You know, because if I did it square, I was pretty sure she could do it squarer. and so, but I was excited about this because it was just a couple years after Dave had died, and I was really trying to get people to hear his music and other singers to sing his music. And if Marsha Brady, I mean, okay, like maybe it's square, but she's a name, like, you know, maybe not a big name in country music, but she is somebody who's out there, like a name, like who is aware of Dave Carter, and that was so cool to me. So I went to her website, maureenmccormick.com, to find out if this was true. What I saw was that she was holding a guitar, and there was a picture of an album. And so I was like, oh my God, she really is doing it. She's a singer. She's a country singer. Like, this is possible. This is getting more possible by the second. And then there was a button. It said, click here to email Maureen. And I was like, this is it. I click there. I start working on my letter. And I work on it for a whole day. A whole day I work on this letter because I'm an English major. It goes with the name. I don't know. So I'm working on this all day long. All day long. And I'm only talking about music. I'm only talking about, you know, Dave Carter. I want to know if she's singing it, and if she's singing it, is there a way I could hear it? And does she know who Dave Carter is? And does she know he died? And I'm telling her all this stuff, going around and around. Takes me a day. End of the day, I'm trembling as I click send, you know, because I'm so excited, and I'm like really hoping this is all true. And I get an instant response. Instant. But not a reply. Just like an out-of-office response kind of thing. And it's her people, and they say, we're sorry, but Maureen is very busy right now, and she will never read your email. And I was like, what? And then it says, but if you click here, you can order an 8x10 glossy that she'll sign for you for $9.99. And I was like, Marsha, what are you doing? So I don't know if it's true that she ever sang this song. But I heard somebody talking about 6 degrees of separation. Somebody in this room might know somebody who knows Maureen McCormick. She might be here for all I know. I don't. No, she's not here. Okay. But I tell that story because all these years, 22 years later, I'm still curious. I still want to know if she ever sang this song. Anyway, I would say it's a sing-along, but I think we don't know each other well enough yet to really make that happen. Although I know there are some longtime fans in the house, so if you feel like it, join in. This is just called Crocodile Man. Mama, she raised me on riddles and trances, fatback, channel cat, lily white lies, rocked my cradle in a Jimmy Crack fancy. Never knew Papa and I never asked why. And people say Papa wasn't no account anyway. People say Papa was a rolling stone. Well, I turned 20 on a Whack-A-Mole Thruway, hitching up a river in the dark alone, sleeping with a stranger in a no-name town. Thanksgiving dinner at the Top Hat Lounge, Christmas Eve at the Fantasy Town. Oh, Lord have mercy on a crocodile man. Lord have mercy on the crocodile man. Well, I didn't hear anybody, so okay. Well, I hooked up with a carny a little out of Memphis, slaving in a sideshow, pennies in a jar, beetle-eyed jokers and hicktown princes, rhinestone rubies and rubber cigars. I wrestled me a gator out in Omaha City, did me another down in New Orleans, tangled with a barker, run off with a kitty. I crawled the Mississippi and I got away clean, sleeping with a stranger in a no-name town. Thanksgiving dinner at the Top Hat Lounge, Christmas Eve at the Fantasy Town. Oh, Lord have mercy on a crocodile man. Lord have mercy on a crocodile man. Well, underneath the levee in a cattail thicket, hidden in the shadow of a shady grove, there's a thatched roof rising from a poke fence picket. White smoke billows from a kettle black stove. Inside the house is the hall of mirrors. Inside the mirror is a temple of sin. Inside the temple is the face of Marcia. And mama, she knows just where I've been. Oh, my mama knows exactly where her bad boy been. Now that would be scary, wouldn't it? Sleeping with a stranger in a no-name town. Thanksgiving dinner at the Top Hat Lounge. Christmas Eve at the Fantasy Town. Oh, Lord, have mercy on a crocodile man. Lord, have mercy on a crocodile man. Lord, have mercy on a crocodile man. Lord, have mercy on that crocodile man. Thank you. Thank you. I mean, wouldn't it be something to hear that version? Hear the Marcia version? I'm telling you. It is rain, it is age, it is poison, supplication to family honor. Little children with keys to the temple, red lights and silver dimes. It's waiting for a sun that punishes but seldom shines, living and dying in the shadow of Evangeline. She's young like her mama before her, put up tired at the end of her labors, true believing and ever desiring quiz shows and checkout lines. In porch light halo ringed about by moss and hanging shadow of Evangeline, yeah. La-da-da-dum-bum, la-da-dum, la-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Ooh, yeah, yeah. Oh. In the bang and the crash of the factory, and in a hot cutting season of metal, on the floor of an ocean of contract skin drums and shrunken heads, strange dances long undone go stamping in between the lines. Old gods incarnate in the shadow of Evangeline. La-da-da-dum-bum, la-da-dum, la-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Thank you. It's called Shadows of Evangeline. If you didn't know, couldn't figure out what it was about, it's okay because I don't know either. Just play it because it's got a nice groove. This next song here is one I wrote. I started writing songs in 2014. Well, I'd written one before. After Dave passed away, I was inspired to write, mainly because I was pissed off and I needed someplace to put it, so I put it in a song. And that song has changed over the years, and we'll talk about that later. But somebody invited me to be part of a project in 2014. It was called Real Women, Real Songs, and it was a collection of 20 women from all across the United States, led by a woman in Texas named Carrie Cooper. And Carrie Cooper's job was to toss us all a prompt every week, and we would get busy writing songs, and then we would post them to YouTube, to a dedicated channel just for the project. These fledgling songs just tossed up there for everyone to see. And then we would do this, like, every week for an entire year was the plan. And when Carrie Cooper reached out to me, she's like, I want you to be part of this project. And I was like, now, Carrie, I'm like, I see the names of the people you're inviting to be in this project, and they're all well-established songwriters, you know, who have like many albums to their credit. And I have many albums to my credit, but I didn't write any of the songs on them. And I don't know if this is a good idea for me to get involved in this, because can you think of any songs that I wrote? And she goes, well, I know about that one. And I'm like, yeah, that's the one. Like, I don't know if I'm really setting myself up for success, because that took 34 years to write, so I'm not really sure. And she goes, girl, it's time for you to get out from behind that Dave Carter material. I'm just going to tell you straight. And I'm like, ouch. Come on now. And she's like, I'm just going to tell you. And I'm like, and I was really mad at her for a minute. But I knew she was right. And so I launched and began writing songs, began finishing songs. I had been writing little snippets of songs in notebooks for years and years, since college. But I didn't know how to turn them into a whole song until I was running with the big dogs, and then I kind of figured it out. So I was in Blue Lake, California, out by Arcata, when we got the prompt Optimism. And I was visiting a friend named Peggy, my longtime friend from junior high, and Peggy was kind of down in the dumps, and I got a notebook out of my passenger seat, and I've been taking all these notes as I was driving around on tour about positive things I could say to, about Peggy and my song, But then I do this show in Arcata, and the guy tells me afterwards, he says, yeah, we're putting you up in a little hotel about 10 miles down the road in Blue Lake. It's attached to a casino. You're really going to love it. And I was like, wait, what? What? A casino? Casino hotel you're putting me in? And he's like, yeah. He's like, it's great. The people are so nice. And I'm like, yeah, but I got a pocket full of cash. Like, I don't know if that's such a good idea. Like, casino is just right there. I mean, I don't have a gambling problem, but if I won even a little, I could get in trouble. And he's like, well, And so I go, and I'm like, working on my song for Peggy, and then the light bulb moment hits me, like a little late, and I'm like, oh my God, a song about optimism and a casino right next door? Walk down the hall, Tracy, and go get your song. It's in there somewhere, because a casino is, in fact, the most sadly optimistic place on the planet. And the Blue Lake Casino in particular, where there was only like 8 people and they were all regulars. That's what the dealer told me. She said, oh, yeah, that guy, he's going to sit on that machine for about 20 minutes, hit it or not, and then he's going to move over to the Mr. Woo over here, and then he's going to go to Bigfoot Bonus over here. And just nickel slots. The guy's just going to move around the room, the slot machines, and play. The dealer, she didn't have anybody at her table because it was 8 people at midnight at the Blue Lake Casino. And so she said, she goes, yeah, people think they're just going to come in here and hit it big and hit it fast and get out, but it doesn't work like that. And I was like, hit it big, hit it fast. Thank you so much for your time. Now, the thing about this song project, though, is that there was video component to it, right? There's video. Like, we're supposed to most of us are just, like, in our bedrooms or in our hotel rooms playing the song for the video, and then we put it up. And I'm like, but I'm in the casino where I'm writing this song. Like, I should get a little footage while I'm in here. And my lizard brain told me this was not a good idea, but my monkey mind was like, just do it, you know? And so I go in with my iPhone and I know it's wrong, but I don't see any signs anywhere like a little, you know, camera with a flash through. I don't see any of that. I'm looking for it. I really am. But I also kind of know. But anyway, so I turn the iPhone on, and I keep it down low because I think that I can evade whatever powers that be. I didn't know there were cameras all over the ceiling. I would learn that later. But so I'm just kind of like going real slow. I'm just getting a sweep because I don't need a whole video's worth. I just need to cut in some key things. And so what am I getting? At this level, down low, you're getting butts on bar stools. You're getting, you know, drinks sweating on slot machine trays. You're getting like a cigarette burning out in an ashtray. And then there, right at the end of the row there, there's a security guard coming right at me. I better put this away. And so I tuck it away, and he's like, talking into a curlicue. He's like, yeah, I got her, you know, like talking to his buddies somewhere in surveillance. And he tells me I have to wipe all my footage. And I was like, no, I'm just a songwriter. It's probably the first time I ever said that out loud in public. I'm just a songwriter. I just needed my footage for my video. And he's like, no, you don't. Wipe it. And so he watched as I wiped most of it. And then I realized, come on, TG, if you're going to be a songwriter, you've got to be able to show people the movie in your song. So this is my movie. And because we were in gold country, it's just called 49er. Everybody's in their places, plastic buckets and hopeful faces, padded stools and a couple glasses, one for liquor, one for ashes. It's nickel slots and blackjack tables, saggy jeans and phony sables, sirens whine as the nickels fall, pull again, bet it all. And then hit it big, hit it fast, it's in your blood, the die is cast, drop a dollar, drop a dime. Sweet civilian silver miner, and I'm the eye that sees it all from behind the disco ball. Fortune is a fickle mistress, but Jesus Christ, you can't complain. Lucky is your middle name. Dealer boys in blue and black, dealer girls with ample racks. Aces high and the deck is stacked. See 'em swagger, see 'em laugh, dropping dollars, dropping dimes. No such thing as closing time. Double down and live the dream. Pretty ladies, Jimmy B. Urban 49er, sweet civilian silver miner, and I'm the eye that sees it all from behind the mirrored wall. Laughing Fortune, Texas tea, leopard spots and turtle treasure, double diamond fire and sea, Cleopatra life of leisure, gold chain, $7 in your pocket. Dealer boys with empty hands, cocktail girls and wedding bands. Aces high, but the chips are flat. Break a sweat, watch your back. Dropping dollars, bumming dimes, no such thing as quitting time. Double down and make a fist. Lady luck, near miss. You're an urban 49er, sweet civilian silver miner, and mine's the eye that sees it all. Yeah, mine's the eye that sees it all from behind the waterfall. Thank you. This next song here is it's a cover song. It's written by a friend of mine out in Oregon by the name of Kate Power. Kate Power was at a songwriting retreat when the spirit of the son of some family friends came swirling into the room. A young man who had recently died in the war in Iraq. His name is Travis John Braddock Knoll. And Travis John Braddock Knoll's spirit came spinning into the room, asking Kate to tell his story. And so she wrote it down. And she started playing it out. And I remember the first time I heard the song, she wasn't even done with it, and my fingers were twitching. And I was like, I have to play that song too. I have to play that song too. What do we have right now in the middle of this ridiculous war but this song, and we need to sing it? And so we started kind of a one-song peace movement. And we were handing out the music to anybody who could play, you know. Must have handed out 1,000 cards. And just played the song in honor of Travis's life and all the soldiers that we had lost in that war or who had been wounded. And then the song, as songs do, kind of fell out of both of our set lists. Nobody knows why this happens. Songs get tired. They're like, okay, I need to go. I need to go rest. Stop singing me for right now. And so Travis rested for years, actually. But then about 3 years ago, I'm at a festival where Kate and I would play every year in Oregon. And she's gearing up. She's on stage and she's gearing up to play Travis John. And when she comes off stage, I said, "You're playing that song again?" And she said, "Yeah, I don't know what it is, but I just, maybe about 6 months ago, I just felt like I had to start playing it again." And I said, "Me too. That's weird. He's here." He's here. He's in the building somewhere. I'm like, I don't know how any of that works up there. And believe me, I have thought long and hard about it after losing my partner. But I can only say that there's some element of him or his memory just needed to be aired again. And so we're playing this song. Once again, it is relevant. It's just named after him, just called Travis John. Under a foreign sky, my fate awaits me. There, but for God go I. Do not forsake me. I am a boy, full of promise, full of freedom. Now the joy is dead and done. I am gone. Before the western sea, my home was there. took to manhood early. I was the one my brother called, my mama looked to me, her fine, strong son. Now the joy is dead and done. I am gone. Yeah. Finding my way to go, the call that I should answer. My country's own hero, like music to the dancer. I am a boy, full of promise, full of freedom. Now the joy is dead and done. I am gone. Under a weeping willow tree you planted roses. There in my memory, where my eternal ghost is. I was a boy, full of promise, full of freedom. Now then joy is dead and done. I am gone. Now the joy is dead and done. I am gone. Ooh, ooh, yeah. Isn't that a good one? Yeah. Well, songs about sons. Not all sons are good. Dave Carter liked to write a murder ballad. So I'm going to play one for you now about this ne'er-do-well named Preston Miller. It's a video of me playing this back in, I think, 2011 or something at some little Celtic club up in New England. And there's a couple comments from guys named Preston Miller. And they're like, oh, dang, that's how it ends? He's like, this is what happens when I search for my own name. Not a good idea. He was born in Miller's mansion when the mistress was asleep, the secret son of the chambermaid master. And they sent him into hiding for his schooling and his keep with the Carlyles and the other lucky bastards. Now his toady tutors fawn and praise the man that he's become, though he's taken to the laudanum and Pharaoh. And he walks the streets like velvet death with his daddy's money on his breath and a shame he cannot shake down in his marrow. When day fades to black, you must not listen to the killer. Pretty voices keep you beautiful and bound. 'Cause a simple sorry fact of your existence, Preston Miller, is enough to bring this house of evil down. One night upon some drunken dare, he writes his absent sire, saying, Father, I would fain come home to meet thee. And though his worthless friends guffaw this sudden show of fire, another round of bourbon and it's easy. And this letter finds his father in his tower far away, and the hoary claw that holds it shakes and trembles. Is it grief over a life misspent, or love or greed or mere contempt, or something darker stirring in his temples? When day fades to black, you must not listen to the killer. Pretty voices keep you beautiful and bound. 'Cause the simple, sorry fact of your existence, Preston Miller, is enough to bring this house of evil down, down, down. A week gone by, he's wakened by a knocking at his door, and he drags himself half-wasted to the threshold. It's a message in his father's quill, saying, meet me, scion, if you will, at the very stroke of midnight in the meadow. Now he has combed his laggard locks and hired a comely roan, and he's met his comrade fops around the fountain. And he's bidden each a grin goodbye, and he's cantered off alone to meet his aged father in the mountain. When day fades to black, you must not listen to the killer. Pretty voices keep you beautiful and bound. 'Cause a simple, sorry fact of your existence, Preston Miller, is enough to bring this house of evil down, down, down. Come out, my father dear, I honor thee tonight. He shouts as he goes weaving in the saddle, and he sees the stars go blinking by like the twinkling in a trollop's eye, and 6 riders riding madly in the shadows. This morning sailed a ship of fools across a sea of gin, with a blind and grinning reaper at the tiller. And it drove an aging Jacob to his lone and bitter end, and a bullet through the brain of Preston Miller. Two little shorties for you, and then we'll take a break. Here there's oysters at the break today. This song is just a prayer. Dave Carter wanted to write a song that is sort of like a blues through the influence of someone like Townes Van Zandt, but he also wanted to include yodeling. I think he got the idea for this. There's a line in here about a cave, and after Dave passed, I was going through his pictures, and he had a picture of a cave, and inside the cave it was just a small cave like you'd see on the side of a road, a little weird rock formation. Inside the cave was Mary and her attendants, just little figurines that someone had set up on the side of the road. It's quite moving, actually. He must have been out in the Southwest, is what I'm thinking, but this is called Farewell to St. Dolores. Can you stay until tomorrow? There is no one here to save. Can you stay until tomorrow? There is no one here to save. So spoke Our Lady of eternal sorrow from the shelter of her cave. In a carriage of white linen, in her bed beneath the stairs, she took me to the Jesse house of women and sanctified me there. Yodelay, yodelay, yodelay. I remember yellow curtains and her long hair hanging down. I remember yellow curtains, ooh, and her long hair hanging down. And the ageless face that witnessed me for certain when my own could not be found. Yodelay, yodelay, yodelay. Yodelay, yodelay, yodelay. If you see my St. Dolores, tell her love from Brother John. If you see my St. Dolores, ooh, tell her love from Brother John. When the Judas moon breaks o'er the virgin forest, I'll be down the road and gone. Thank you. So I'll play one more song. We'll take a little break here. This is that first song I wrote, my grieving song. And when I first started to write it, it was like, I was really banging on the guitar, and because I was pretty pissed off. And I used to walk this little stretch after Dave died. We lived out in the suburbs in Tigard, Oregon, a suburb of Portland, and there wasn't much out there. We're in a little townhouse, but I would walk down the hill, and then I would cross two busy streets. I'd cross one street, go through a field, cross another street, and end up in a strip mall. And in the strip mall, there were only 3 businesses. There was 24-hour fitness, and Starbucks, and Sushi Boat, which I don't know if you've ever been to a place called Sushi Boat or something like it, but the chef stands in the middle and makes all the sushi and then literally puts the plates on a moat that goes all around him, and the sushi swims by, and you just nab the one you catch, you reel in the ones you want, and they know how much to charge you based on the color of the plate. So, but as far as I was concerned, 24-hour fitness, Starbucks, and Sushi Boat, all my needs were being met. So, because otherwise all I was doing was sleeping, because Dave was my first big loss, and it hit me very hard. I slept for months. But I would walk over there, and going through that field, I was perplexed by this field, because we're out in the suburbs, and at that particular time in Tigard, Oregon, there were tractors everywhere, just raising the wild land, making room for more townhouses, cutting down the native trees, planting ones that matched. It was just kind of gross what was happening in Tigard. And yet this little patch between the 2 busy streets remained wild. And that was the first place I ever heard blackbirds talking to each other. And I'd walk through, and there were puddles, and there were kids' toys, so I knew I wasn't the only person who was hip to this place. There was a well-worn trail through this patch of wildness. So I started calling it my verdant mile. My verdant mile. It wasn't really a mile, but and that's what I had in mind when I started writing this song. But 20-something years later, there've been a lot more losses, a lot more grieving, and it's been interesting to watch the changing relationship with grief. When I first lost Dave, I felt like someone just handed me like a huge bag of stones and said, carry that for the rest of your life. Good luck. And I was like, I can't move with this. I can't move. And I couldn't for the longest time. Loss upon loss, they piled on to one another. And eventually I learned that you could open the bag and you could distribute the weight. You could put some of those stones in your shoes. You could put some in your pockets. You could tuck some anywhere you can tuck things, and you could shift it around. Maybe you could carry it in both hands instead of just one hand. The point is, it didn't have to be this one big monolithic thing. And when you distribute the weight of a thing like that, oddly enough, I didn't feel bogged down. I felt like I could dance again. And so the song, which started as kind of a really angry thing, took on I recorded it twice. I recorded it once kind of with the angry beat, and then I recorded it once more with the dancing beat. It's just called the Verdant Mile. I didn't want to burn like this, so close to the bone. No muscle left to carry it, this black bag of stones. The August heat, the autumn rain, and a winter's face of blue. These seasons keep their spinning up, but there's no sign of you. There is no sign. Richard says the whippoorwill taught him how to go. And I tell him death is just a dream, but what do I know? 'Cause it's everything and nothing when the spirit cracks the sky. But flowers fold and go to seed, and no one questions why. And so I walk this verdant mile of memory with you, the gentle arms of Eden, and the mountain get me through. Blackbirds in the trees, and I sit alone and wish that maybe one of you would come visit me. But no matter how much seed I hang or what prayer I call out, I cannot bring that burden from the field or make an angel come around, come around, come around. And so I walk this verdant mile of memory with you, the gentle arms of Eden, and the mountain get me through. Yes, so I walk Thank you all so much for being here. We'll take a little break. See you in a few minutes. Thank you. All right, let's see what's on the set list. Okay. Did everybody get oysters? Oysters? All right. This one is by request. I think it's the last of the... Oh, no, there's one more Dave Carter song toward the end. This is a song that Dave used to say was about small-town saints and repressive social machinery. I don't know if that's a problem you have here in Rock Hall, but probably not. This is like... What was the motto again? Where people are nice or something? Nice people live here? That's so good. I mean, even if it wasn't true in the beginning, and then everyone just got nice because they wanted to live up to the sign, you know? I'm going to suggest that for Greenfield, Massachusetts, except I think mine is going to be where everybody's sober. Common Cooley was a proud young fool in a kick-ass Walmart tie, ripping down the main drag, tripping on the headlights, rolling by. In the early dawn when the cars were gone, did he hear the master's call? And the five and dime, did he wake and find he was only dreaming after all? 'Cause this is an ordinary town, and the prophet stands apart. This is an ordinary town, and we brook no wayward heart, and every highway leads your prodigal back home to the ordinary sidewalks you were born to roam. Rock of ages, love contagious, shine the serpent fire. So sang the sage of 16 summers in the upstairs choir. So sang the old dog down the street beside his wailing wall. Go home, the mayor cried when Jesus came to City Hall. 'Cause this is an ordinary town, and the prophet stands alone. This is an ordinary town, and we crucify our own, and every highway leads your prodigal again to the ordinary houses you were brought up in. Yeah, yeah. Oh, raised on hunches and junk food lunches and punch-drunk ballroom steps. Get to believing you're even Steven with the kids at Fast Track Prep. So you dump your bucks on a velvet tux and you run and join the dance. But your holy shows and the Romans know you're just a child of circumstance. 'Cause this is an ordinary town, and the prophet has no face. This is an ordinary town, and the seasons run in place, and every highway leads your prodigal and true to the ordinary angels watching over you. Yeah, and they do. Thank you. The song is called Love and Hate. And I think it really, how we all, whether we want to admit it or not, like, I think a lot of us do need, we need to fight something. I don't know. We need to not like something so that we can all the more appreciate the things that we really, really love. I mean, that certainly seems true on the internet, you know, where people are looking for people to just duke out, you know, they're just... So we had this relationship that was obviously beautiful in so many ways because of the music we made, but also, you know, contentious. We had our issues, and then he wrote a song about it. So, you know, I write my song, he writes his. This is a true story. It's just called Love and Hate. Baby butterfly, she binds up her bruises, paints her face where the scars run deep, lifts her silky voice and calls down her muses, sings the gods of the garden to sleep. And she has flown from the high plains of rapture, and she has crawled through the cold hills of fate, bound with simple gifts for greener pastures, a bowl of ashes on a silver plate, looking for someone have loved too well the long trance of winter, the sterile bed and the unclaimed heat. And now she shakes me and the sky falls in splinters, and I awake to the cold window street. And I have flown from the high plains of rapture, and I have crawled through the cold hills of fate, bound with simple gifts for greener pastures, an autumn blossom when the frost runs late, looking for someone to love and hate. They shut the carny down, the cafes are quiet, the blinking red greets the early dawn, the faded posters crying, here come the giants. Now their brave new world is a long time gone. 'Cause we have flown from the high plains of rapture, and we have crawled through the cold hills of fate, bound with simple gifts over greener pastures, lonely riders on an outbound freight, looking for someone to love and hate. Isn't that a pretty one? Love it. So pretty. That chorus is just amazing. The prompt was satisfied. Clearly, I was not going to be writing about my relationship for satisfied. I mean, I could have gone in backwards, but the song project also came about a year after my dad had passed. And my dad and I had we operated at arm's length, let's put it that way. We were okay in email, okay on the phone, didn't go to visit him much. We always fought in person. And he had been complaining about not feeling well. His stomach had been hurting. They told him he had an ulcer. Then they told him he had Barrett's esophagitis. Then he called me May 1st of 2013, and he said, well, I got some bad news for you. And I said, it's the cancer, isn't it? And he goes, I heard him take a long drag of a cigarette. Yeah, I'm afraid so. And then, like, without even taking a breath, he goes, but I've had a good life. And I'm like, wait, what? And like, I was there for like 40-something years of it. What? Good life? When, where was I? You know? True, I wasn't in the room much, but You know, if I took the eagle eye view of my dad's life, I mean, really from the beginning and from his own dad leaving, you know, hitting the road, a truck driver, just disappearing for a while, and my dad being an only child, and then, you know, the alcohol, and then the cheating, and then a little bit of this cocaine. I don't know what my dad was up to. Like, there's all kinds of craziness. I would say daddy needs a do-over. I wouldn't say that is a good life right there. You know, the bankruptcy, whatever, all the things. Like my dad, he got the full meal deal, but it was all the shit meal deal. He didn't get all the good stuff, right? And so he's like, oh, but I've had a good life. And I was like, okay. So I'm trying to get information out of him about this cancer. He's like, oh, hell's bells, I don't know. It's in my leg, it's in my liver, it's in my esophagus, esophageal cancer. And I didn't know anything about cancer, so I didn't know that if it had moved around, it was stage 4. I was just like, well, that sounds like a lot. What are you going to do? And he's like, I don't know, Trace. And I said, well, how long, you know, what are we talking about here? And he goes, I don't know. I said, did you ask? And he goes, nah. And I go, okay. Well, how long do you feel like you have? And he goes, I could hear him. He's taking this, you know that sound of someone sucking his cigarette on the phone? 6 months. I'm like, okay. Okay, look at my calendar, my tour calendar. I was touring a lot more then, but I had a little window right at the beginning of June. And then the phone calls picked up. Obviously, I'm checking in with him all the time. Felt like every day. I looked back at my journal. It was not every day, but it was often. And just checking in to see how he's doing. And we had this conversation where he was eating a peach, and he was going on and on and on about this peach, about the how juicy it was, and like this, the texture of the skin was just perfect, and the color of, you know, the red inside the gold, he just couldn't get over it. And there was a breeze coming in, and he was so in love with this breeze. And then he calls out to his girlfriend, hey Karen, get me some ice cream, because he didn't want to miss a drop of this peach juice that was like falling all over everywhere. And I just never heard a man happier with anything than my dad with his peach. And that's the gift sometimes that a thing like cancer can give you, right? You hear about this, where all of a sudden, all these long distance, these plans that you had for these futures disappear. These petty complaints that you had disappear, and you're here in the moment. You're fully here in the moment. Every moment is a gift. I mean, I wish we could live like that all the time. We don't. We're busy. We get distracted. But wouldn't it be a thing, you know, to really appreciate like that? So I hear my dad, never happier. And then I get this prompt a year later, satisfied. And I think, well, I have to write a song for my dad. But what I have to do is sort of reconcile, because this problem of good life is still bugging me. I'm like, what is he talking about? Like, so I thought maybe if I start writing the song in his voice, I can figure it out. You know, if I try to come in through my own dadness, you know, like, can I get in there? Can I? And I did it, but I think his good life was not actually the life he lived. It was the things he dreamed about living. I think that's what I came up with. So I don't think I totally succeeded in my journey, but what I can tell you is that I didn't get to visit my dad, because 6 months turned out to be 29 days. And he died like 5 days before I was supposed to get there. And to be fair, he never wanted me to see him anyway. He's like, my arms are so skinny now, I don't want you to see me. Like, oh, okay. I wanted to see him, but I didn't get to. So, but I sang this song in Oregon at a venue that I love, the Alberta Rose Theater. And my friend came up to me afterwards and he said, my girlfriend officially hates you now. And I said, why is that? He said, because of that song, Good Life. And I said, what's wrong with Good Life? And she said, now she has to go talk to her dad. And she did. She got there in time. She had the exact same situation I did. So if it didn't work out for me, it worked out for someone else. It's just called Good Life. 20 years old, just a fitful young man with a fire in my eye. Liked a drink in my hand, kissed a pretty young girl. Got a gold wedding band and a baby on the way that we didn't quite plan. And oh, Headed out west and I ran a little hot, and the drink in my hand, well, it didn't cool me off. It was right about the time my kid was 16. I was scaring everybody, got so bitter and mean and oh. I used to dream of a little rowing boat. It'd be me and the dog, and we'd fish and we'd float and we'd live in a one-level ranch with toads round the pond and doves in the branches. And oh, what a good life. Sick of my scheming and costly mistakes. I was losing my business, I was burning up the brakes. I got sober as a mountain and my river turned cool. I make it up to you, mama, but you're leaving this fool and oh. 'Cause I used to dream we'd be getting up at dawn. We'd have chickens in the pen and some goats on the lawn and big trees and worms in the pail and my heart on my sleeve. Yeah, my love wouldn't fail. In my good life, in my good life. Well, I'm 65 now and they tell me I'm sick. This pain in my belly, it is the reckoning stick. So call on my daughter and we cry ourselves clear. It's forgiveness and grace, and I wish you were here, you know. Yeah. Last time we talked, I was coming undone about a sweet summer peach that tastes just like the sun, with the juice from that fruit dripping all down my face. There is only this moment, only this place, and the dream of a little rowing boat. It'd be me and the dog, and we'd fish and we'd float and we'd live in a one-level ranch with toads round the pond and doves in the branches. And oh, oh yeah, what a good life, what a good life. What a good life. Let it all go now and wipe it all clean. Ain't no time for regret in the grid in between. It was a hell of a ride, and I wish I had known. You can worry, you can wonder, but we're all just going home. Thank you. My parents had a baby bedding business. Somebody's got to make the baby bedding. And that would have been my family. And in fact, I never gave much thought to my future because I thought I was growing up to inherit the baby bedding business. I was 8 years old when they started sewing in the den. My mom had worked for another baby bedding business. And she had all these ideas for new products. And they're like, Judy, just sew. Don't think so hard. But my mom had an engineering mind. And she was really good at sewing. And so they were like, all right, never mind you. We're going to go break off and do our own thing. So they started in the den. And from the den, they moved to the garage because my mom needed a big, long table to roll out all the fabric and cut out all the patterns. And then we moved to a business complex with an office in the front and a warehouse out back. And now we were hiring sewers to come pick up the piecework and go home and sew it. And then my mom and I would drive around in the Gramco van in the morning and pick up all the finished goods before school. And then after that, we just kept taking over offices and warehouses until we had the whole building. It was our rags to riches and eventually rags again story. But when I was young, I thought, oh, this is going to be mine one day, so I better learn everything I can about it. And I worked for my parents. Working is what I knew how to do. From the time I was 8 years old, I was there tying the little yarn ties on the infant seat covers, just as fast as my mom could thread them through. And then I would turn the bassinet sheets inside out. I would learn to inspect things, like if there's a little piece of ruffle that, kind of came loose, I'd be like, Mom, this one's a defect. And she'd go fix it, And then when we finally got the shops, I would work in the shop after school, work in the shop all summer, took my violin lessons in one of the spare offices. I really got into it. My brother, nowhere to be found, but I was there working. And in the summer times, back there at the packing table, where Vera Mae and Diane worked as full-timers, I would help them. And then my parents would hire the sons of some of the ladies who sewed for us. They would give them summer jobs, which meant that when I was back there at the packing table, I had this sort of rotating cast of big brothers that would come through in the summer times. And some of them were very cool, and some of them were very uncool. And so I was involved in the second round of this songwriting project with all the banal prompts like frying pan and flashlight, and letter jacket came up. Letter jacket. And I thought of one of the guys I used to work with. And I thought about how when I was 12 years old, he told me something about my love life that would eventually turn out to be true, except that when I was 12 years old, it was not the kind of thing I was really ready to hear because I was still scared of boys right then. I didn't have a love life. And so for him to be making predictions about my love life seemed a little bold. And it hurt my feelings. Decades later, it all turned out to be true. And so I wanted to tell him. I got this letter jacket swirling around in my head. It makes me think of Greg. And then I'm like, oh, my God, I need to find him. So I go on the internet like you do, only to find his obituary. He had died very young. And that's when I knew, well, I've got to write a song for Greg. I've got to write this one. So this is just called Gregory Dean. Oh, and I should tell you, I have set the song in Abilene, but there's no way that it happened in Abilene. In fact, I don't think anything happens in Abilene, honestly. It's just such a pretty word, and it fits so well in songs that it pops up quite a bit. But this did not happen in Abilene. Gregory Dean. We met when I was 12 years old and you were 17. I was a stringy-haired overachiever. You were the captain of the football team. We worked all summer for my daddy out in Abilene. And Gregory Dean, amid the buzz and the smoke and the heat off the big machines, I'd be singing with the warehouse speakers while you acted out Caddyshack scenes and kept me laughing like a fool hyena. Gregory Dean. And Gregory Dean, you told me all the boys my age were just dumb and green. Said love would take a while to find me. Don't bother with a high school scene. You were always looking to protect me, Gregory Dean. It was a summer like no other, a time I won't forget. I'd had a lot of work, big brothers, but you were the best one yet. And Gregory Dean, I didn't have to tell you how it was with my dad and me when he busted through the back door screaming. You put yourself right between, and even Mama didn't dare to cross him, Gregory Dean. It was a summer like no other, a time I won't forget. I'd had a lot of work, big brothers, but you were the best one yet. Well, you were right about love, you were right about Dad. He wasn't really angry, just a little bit lost and sad. And you were right about love, it took a good long time. I wish that you could meet this beautiful man of mine. But Gregory Dean, by the time I finally found you, you had a set of angel wings. Still I see you in your Letterman's jacket, laughing like a springtime stream, and giving me your best Bill Murray. Oh, I hope that you can hear me singing up there in the in-between. It was a summer like no other. You were my very best work brother, Gregory Dean. Gregory Dean. Gregory Dean. Thank you. I'm going to play you what I think is the prettiest song Dave Carter left behind. And it kind of sums up everything that's happened in this set. The chorus of this song says, "If there's a better way to love you, show it to me." And I feel that in so many areas of my life. I feel it with my audiences. I feel it with my family, what's left of us, my friends. my poor country. Summer is over and her temples are gray, and I guess you'll be looking round for somebody new. Or maybe you found him and you're just not saying, 'cause he makes you feel the way I used to do. Babe, if there's a better way to love you, show it to me, 'cause I could not live and let you get away, knowing there was a better way. Well, out on that highway, the mean wind is screaming, and it cuts right through you, and the rain bites hard. But I'd walk beside you to share in your dreaming, and while you were sleeping, I'd be standing guard. Babe, if there's a better way to love you, show it to me, 'cause I could not live and let you get away, knowing there was a better way. Well, hard roads bust open with bitter words spoken, and hearts can be broken and dreams undone. But hearts can be mended and hard words forgotten, and roads return often where they started from. Babe, if there's a better way to love you, show it to me, 'cause I could not live and let you get away, knowing there was a better way. Death came to my window in the form of a maiden, and she didn't say nothing, she just stood and stared. And round about midnight she lay down beside me, and when I awoke, wasn't nobody there. Babe, if there's a better way to love you, show it to me, 'cause I could not live and let you get away, knowing there was a better way. Well, I want to thank you all so much for coming out tonight. This has been such fun. I didn't really know what to expect at the Mainstay. All I really saw were the funky chairs. And Mark just said, "You're going to love it. You're going to love it." He's right. I love it. How about a hand for Clark in the back for making it sound so pretty? Thank you. And I want to thank Julie and Dawn for sponsoring our show. Thank you. This last song is a Dave Carter song. It's one that he got entirely in a dream. I mentioned that he was kind of a dream miner. Well, this one just showed up fully formed. And by 10 o'clock that morning, we were playing it at a farmer's market gig that we had. This was in like 2000 or something. And it was just done, like my violin part, the harmonies, the lyrics, music, everything was just done. It was such a gift. It's so rare, you know, that songs come fully formed like this. And of all the songs that he left behind, this is the one that gets covered the most. Like if you were sitting around a campfire somewhere and somebody said, oh, play a Dave Carter song, it would be either his one about dying, which is called When I Go, which we worried would make us the Peter, Paul, and Mary of death, and that kind of turned out to be true anyway. Or it would be this song, Gentle Arms of Eden, which is he called it an eco-spirituality anthem. It's really just the story of how we got here. In 3.5 minutes. So if you happen to know it, feel free to sing along with the choruses. We'll leave you with this. Thanks so much for being here tonight. On a sleepy, endless ocean, when the world lay in a dream, there was rhythm in the splash and roll, but not a voice to sing. So the moon fell on the breakers, and the morning warmed the waves, till a single cell did jump and hum for joy, as though to say, this is my home, this is my only home, this is the only sacred ground that I have ever known. Should I stray in the dark night alone, rock me, goddess, in the gentle arms of Eden. Then the day shone bright and round her, till the one turned into two, and the two into 10,000 things, and old things into new. And on some virgin beachhead, one lonesome critter crawled, and he looked about and shouted out in his most astonished drawl, this is my home, this is my only home, this is the only sacred ground that I have ever known. Should I stray in the dark night alone, rock me, goddess, in the gentle arms of Eden. The sky was buzzing and the ground was carpet green, and the wary children of the wood went dancing in between. And the people sang rejoicing when the fields were glad with grain, this song of celebration from their cities on the plain. This is my home, this is my only home, this is the only sacred ground that I have ever known. Should I stray in the dark night alone, rock me, goddess, in the gentle arms of Eden. There's smoke across the harbor, there's factories on the shore, and the world is ill with greed and will and enterprise of war. But I will lay my burdens in the cradle of your grace, and the shining beaches of your love, and the sea of your embrace. This is my home, this is my only home, this is the only sacred ground that I have ever known. Should I stray in the dark night alone, rock me, goddess, in the gentle arms of Eden. Sing along if you know it. This is my home, this is my only home, this is the only sacred ground that I have ever known. Should I stray in the dark night alone, rock me, goddess, in the gentle arms of Eden. You rock me, goddess, in the gentle You up for one more? All right, cool. Let me think here. All right. I always like to do a Townes Van Zandt at the end of the show. Yeah. Song about a couple of outlaws. You probably know it. I really thought Willie and Merle wrote this song. My family used to take these long trips out to the desert. We listened to a lot of music. It's funny, I grew up in Southern California. Or I should say, I totally grew up in Southern California. Oh my God. And I was like 15 minutes from the beach. And my family would drive 5 hours in the opposite direction to go be on the Colorado River. I hardly ever went to the beach. Weird. But we listened to a lot of music and we didn't always agree. My brother was a big fan of Rush. I wanted somebody to please put my Pat Benatar tape in. My parents were big fans of country, though, and we all liked the country, actually. And we all really liked the Willie and Merle tape, especially this song. I haven't recorded this one yet, but I would like to. This is just Pancho and Lefty. Sing along if you know it. Living on the road, my friend, gonna keep you free and clean. Now you wear your skin like iron, your breath is hard as kerosene. Weren't your mama's only boy, but her favorite one is seen. She began to cry when you said goodbye. You sank into your dream. Now Pancho was a bandit, boys. His horse was fast as polished steel. He wore his gun outside his pants for all the honest world to feel. Pancho met his match, you know, on the deserts down in Mexico. Nobody heard his dying words. That's the way it goes. Here we go. All the federales say we could have had him any day. We only let him slip away. Out of kindness, I suppose. Now Lefty, he can't sing the blues all night long like he used to. And the dust that Pancho bit down south, well, ended up in Lefty's mouth. The day they laid poor Pancho low, well, Lefty split for Ohio, and where he got the bread to go, well, nobody knows. Here we go. All the federales say we could have had him any day. We only let him slip away. Out of kindness, I suppose. show fell and Lefty's living in a cheap hotel, and the desert's quiet and Cleveland's cold, and so the story ends were told. Well, Pancho needs your prayers, it's true, but save a few for Lefty too. He only did what he had to do. Now he's growing old. Last chance. All the federales say we could have had him any day. We only let him slip away. A few gray federales say we could have had him any day. We only let him go so long. Out of kindness, I suppose. Thank you. Thank you. I'll give you one more here. This is, I had the good fortune to tour with Joan Baez. Yeah, like at the beginning of my career. And then like the rest of my career, I was like waiting for another cool thing to happen. It's weird to start your career like doing a bus tour with Baez. I gotta say, it's like upside down. It's totally, but it was great. It was awesome. She's wonderful. She's just as wonderful as you think she would be. She's amazing. But this is the song that she heard that she started singing in her shows, and we didn't even know how she got the song. Like, I don't know how. I don't know who gave it to her. I don't know. I guess I could ask her. But I think she just heard it somewhere and she just started singing it. And she was at the time. This was back in 2001. She was fond of picking up and coming singer-songwriters and taking them on tour with her. And she would put them on the bus and she'd give them a little spot in the middle of the show to do their thing. Maybe sing a song with them at some point, you know. But because Dave and I were multi-instrumentalists, Dave played banjo and guitar, and I played violin, mandolin, and guitar, she just kept us on stage all night. She's like, just be in the band. And we're like, and she's like, and you are going to do all the solos. And I was like, me? Okay. And then she wanted to swap vocals on Lily and the Jack of Hearts, and I said, oh, it's a little bit high. I go, I don't know if I can do it justice. She's like, just shut up and sing. And I'm like, yes, Joan. And so I did it. But this was the song that she started playing, and we heard about it. For people were like, hey, you know, kind of like that. Did you hear Marsha singing your song? Except it was way cooler. It was like, did you hear Joan Baez singing your song? And Dave was just, you know, back at home in his big hope chest. It was Judy Collins and Nina Simone and like and all these female vocalists. Joan Baez, like he loved her voice. Top 2, you know, was Joan Baez, and so he had the chance to meet her. Obviously, she came to our house for a weekend. We took her out for hot dogs. I don't know what we were thinking. We don't really know how to host famous people. But somehow she still liked us and took us on the tour. She probably felt sorry for us. Like, these guys need to eat better. I'm going to take them on the road. I mean, they were vegan hot dogs. So it was like, you know. But yeah, so I had the great good fortune to sing and play this song with her. And to this day, this song, whenever I come across something that is wounded, hurting, or just, I don't know, on its way out. Like I find animals a lot. Like I don't know what it is. They present themselves to me and they're like on their last legs, and I'm like, okay, I got a song for you. And it's this song. I play them this song and then they die. I don't know. It's not supposed to be funny. It kind of is when I say it like that. But it's because it's the most soothing thing I can think. When Dave first sang this song to me, he had a habit of writing songs in the voice he intended to perform it. It was not necessarily his song. And so early in the relationship, he's singing me this song, and he's singing it in the girl voice that he doesn't have. And so I'm like just trying not to cackle because it sounds ludicrous to me. Like he's, and I'm like, why are you doing this? Just bring it down a few keys so I can understand what you're saying. But while I'm stifling my laughter, he gets to the chorus and it says, I see the mountain comes to me. I see the mountain, and that is all I see. And then I know this is a great song that I will be singing for the rest of my life. And here I am. I was born in a fork-tongued story, raised up by merchants and drugstore liars. Now I walk on the paths of glory, one foot in ice and one in fire. And I see the mountain comes to me. I see the mountain, and that is all I see. Some poor prophet comes, some find solace, and some lay him down in a junkyard bay. Some will chase us, and some will call us gone, gone, gone in a day. Gone to the mountain comes to me. I see the mountain, and that is all I see. Take me and Miller grind me, scatter my bones on the wild green tide. Maybe some roving bird will find me, and over the water we'll ride. Over the mountain, yeah, the mountain comes to me. I see the mountain, and that is all I see. Some build temples, some find altars, some come in tall hats and robes spun fine. Some in rags, some in gemstone halters, and some push the pegs back in line. But I see the mountain comes to me. Ooh, I see the mountain, and that is all Thank you all so much for being here. I hope to see you again soon. Thank you.